finally, just a few overall things about the interview. The committee is looking for a colleague. They're not looking for a graduate student. So you have to get yourself into the mindset of, I'm a colleague within this unit. You also have to remember, though, that you're a junior colleague. So be open to ideas for more senior members of the department. I'm not suggesting that you defer to them constantly, but I do think that one of the negative things that I've heard over the last 5 years, as more positions for junior faculty have opened up in departments that hadn't hired anyone previously for decades, they feel that junior faculty have a really strong sense of entitlement. And you want to ensure that you don't come across as being one of those junior faculty. Now, you probably feel as though the last thing you are is entitled at this point, but that may not be their perception. You need to find a strategy that works for you personally that will buy you time to reflect when they've asked you a question. Because there are going to be some questions that they ask where you need some time to reflect. Sometimes you can say, well, let me take a moment to think about that. Or you can ask them for clarification. But don't get rushed into an answer. But you need to have something in your body language, something in the way you speak, that will just buy you the couple of moments you need to prepare your answer thoroughly. Remember that absolutely nothing is off the record. It's like talking to the press. This for the member of the press in the room. You're actually being interviewed the entire time. Even though they may not perceive it that way while you're sitting there, there is nothing to prevent something that you said at a social occasion during the visit being discussed when the committee gets together after you leave as part of the overall assessment or evaluation of your visit and of you as a future colleague. So be careful. Where this becomes most difficult is if you're not feeling particularly high energy by the time you get to the dinner. I've seen people crash at a dinner and really basically undermine their own trip, their own campus visit. I forgot to mention, if you have particular dietary concerns, that's something that you should mention to the department secretary when she's making arrangements with you for your flight. Make the department secretary or whichever staff person in the department is supporting the search your best friend. Make sure you know their name, make sure you use it, make sure when you have to phone or contact the department that you talk to them in a personal way first. It goes a long way to smoothing the way for you. If you get into difficulties, they'll make sure that they find the AV person quickly rather than just when the AV person shows up. They will really go the distance for you. And once you become a junior colleague, they'll continue that relationship. So I think it's really important. Ultimately, you have to be true to yourself in your answers. So nothing fake, nothing that you don't really believe. You can be ambiguous sometimes. You can be vague, but you still need to be true to yourself. Ultimately, I'd say be confident. Remember, you made the short list. There are probably 80 people who didn't make the short list, or more in some cases. So that should give you some confidence in and of itself. I've already gone through many of the tips of surviving the marathon that is this whole process, but one thing that somebody just said to me this year, and as somebody over 50, I was completely oblivious, over 50 and a bit of a Luddite, I was completely oblivious to this. They said, make sure before you do your campus visit that you've checked yourself out on Google and on Facebook. I don't know how you check yourself out on Facebook, so you can laugh at me if I'm describing this incorrectly. But they said other people will do that. So even though you've listed a few people as referees, students who come to your talk, others within the department are going to do this. So know what's out there about you in cyberspace.